baseball. Pas de succès assuré. Pas de voix qui me dira petit quand je m'ai tracé. Pas de pote sur mon dos. Pas de Mac à mes côtés. Pas de porte ouverte, pas de bonne place à dégoter. Rien dès le départ, mais tout un peu sur ce chantier. Pas besoin de qui que ce soit pour poser les premières pierres. Pas besoin de qui que ce soit pour poser les premières pierres. Chacune des épreuves, c'est des points qui comptent à chaque sport. J'ai ce qu'il faut dans les veines, force extrême, mienne, c'est dans le droit de la peine. Pas besoin de qui que ce soit pour poser les premières pierres. Pas besoin de qui que ce soit pour poser les premières pierres. On requiert, c'est moi qui sonne les pas, rappelle-moi. Papa, je te vois, t'es là, pas fort sur le beat comme le basse, mais qui se passe fort. Pas 40, pas 40.
See what's going on. Yeah.
What?
Flip over to the thing, and then I see your logo just sitting there in the corner of your screen.
Yeah. Fiddling with it.
And then I realized that it was actually on your end. I'm like, I don't remember putting that there.
Fiddling. You can put a logo on
Yeah.
Chroma Cam. Of course, I could
I
also
think
do
I
it on
have
OBS.
that one downloaded. I'm pretty sure I only have the Nerd Wonder picture.
I have the name of a VTuber artist and rigger.
No.
You think I should become a VTuber?
I don't know. You think it'll help?
Problem is that they don't have they don't do animals apparently, so they'd have to whatever animeize this lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
I mean, do you
this
think you'd get
handsome
more
thing.
viewers if they weren't looking at you?
I think I might
Yeah, yeah.
actually might. I have a hard enough time looking at myself.
Mm-hmm.
Can't imagine what other people have to, endure.
You ever do something in your dream that, like, your will was so far behind it, it broke your sleep paralysis in real life?
What do you mean?
So, like, I was in, like, this horror theme thing going on in my dream, and apparently, like, I could hear my mom screaming, and there was, like, a Japanese ghost lady in, like, those movies, like, Ring or Grudge and stuff, doing things. And I come running to the other room, and I don't see where it is, but somebody else in the room, I think it even might have been my mom, was looking in a hand mirror, and I see the ghost lady behind me through the hand mirror, like, just at a distance. And I go to, like, slam my elbow into her face. And apparently I wanted to hit this Japanese ghost chick so hard that it woke me up, because I found myself, like, slamming my elbow into the bed wedged between my pillow and the bed. Like, it broke my sleep paralysis. And this isn't something that, like, the first time it's happened. I'm just glad it went into the mattress this time, because a few times I've woken myself up because I've, like, slammed my elbow or my fist or my knee into the wall next to me because I was hitting something. And you actually can see it in the thing. There's these, like, plates. These, like, plates up on the wall for some reason. I don't know. And whenever the wall shakes, those plates shakes, right? Even, like, if somebody opens the door to the front of the house over there, it'll shake that wall. So, like, I woke myself up, not even because I hit the wall several times, but because those plates start shaking. And I'm like, man, how bad do I want to hurt things?
Yeah, I'm sure I've done something similar where I've actually moved based on a dream. But last night, or actually, I should say earlier this afternoon, I dreamed I was in an airport, and in addition to, like, carts that you could rent to carry your luggage on,
Yeah.
you could actually buy people, and it wasn't like skycaps or anything like that. It was basically slaves. that you could buy. And I kept going up and down. I was in the stairwell, and I couldn't figure out what floor it was where I could buy some people to help carry my luggage.
It's very interesting
knew
that
it
that's
was
where your
somewhere.
mind goes.
I don't know where that came from.
I'm over
headed for
here
New
trying
York.
to save somebody who's in danger from some like supernatural threat, and you're just going up and down stairs trying to figure out where you can buy slaves. I see how it is.
I guess I had a lot of luggage. I don't know. It was very important to me that I find this.
Anyway,
the person purchase counter.
yeah. Welcome to the Vomitorium Weekday Show for the 4th of August, 2021. As always, I am your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. Sorry we did not have a show yesterday, but sometimes nature's a bitch and people aren't feeling well, and you'll just have to deal with that as an audience member. That's life. Suck it. Anyway, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good.
That's good. That is good.
Good.
And before we get started on whatever we're going to talk about, I would like to remind people that there's this little bar on the screen. If you're listening later on, you can imagine it. And right now, it's about exactly a third way full to our monthly hosting fee goals. If you would like to support the show, please donate to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live, and you can see this show not suck all the money out of my pockets. Okay. Where are we?
I was gonna say yes. I was the one who wasn't feeling well yesterday, but that reminded me of something that Scott Adams recently said that I wanted to run by you. That he was saying, I guess this applies especially to someone like him, whose life is pretty much like a dream, like just one good thing after another. He's super rich. He goes on vacations to, foreign countries all the time and things like that. He said, basically, if you're a normal person who has good days and bad days and good things happen and bad things happen, it's fine to tell your friends about a good thing that happened to you. But if you're someone like Scott, who basically every day is like a dream to anyone else, you can't go around telling people about all the wonderful things that you did. Even if it's just something that happened. Like if you're going to tell someone about your day, it's going to get hella annoying to all your friends when it's like, oh yeah, the other day I was.
On the reverse side too, you can't even tell them when something bad happens, because they'll be like, oh yeah, sure, one bad thing happened to you while everything else is just a dream all the time.
Yeah, well, that was not what his. So I was going to run that by you because I thought that too. But he was like, no. He said you just have to always talk about the bad things that happened to you.
See, I don't know. Maybe it might be the select people that he knows, but I personally know people that would be like the impression that I just put out.
Yeah, he was, and the example he gave was like, you have to, if someone says, how was your day or whatever, you'd be like, oh, I stepped out of my car, I was headed for a meeting, and I stepped right in a pile of dog shit, and I got in I couldn't get it off my shoe, and it stunk all throughout this meeting, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you can't tell them that the meeting was about you buying a private jet. Yeah. He's like, the story has to be about how you stepped in dog shit. And he's like, you just can't tell people about, all just like your day, because it's always going to be good things. So, yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, well, and he even said, like, basically you have to be a phony all the time, just so that people don't get sick of you. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know, the people I know would see right through that and just call you a phony. So I thought that was funny. But anyway, yeah, it just reminded me about, I'm not going to tell anyone really why I was having a bad day today. I'm just, surprised to say.
So I've been in this circumstance too. Actually, you want to talk about somebody been on this podcast, Pataya. He comes on from time to time. Hasn't been in quite a while. And one time I was trying to explain to people that one of the reasons why I typically don't need an alarm clock like the reason why I'll wake up like before my alarm clock goes off is because I was kind of like in a way abused. I wouldn't call it abuse, but some people might, because I have a lot of just really rowdy relatives and shit like that. And also I had like a bladder problem when I was real young, so they used to hook me up to like this machine that would like send off an alert whenever I was about to go, so it would try to wake me up. And so there were just several things that, like, I had such a chaotic environment growing up that the slightest impulse will wake me up, especially if I know it's the time that I need to be waking up. And I was trying to explain that this actually was a bad reason for why I've developed this like survival instinct, but all he took away from it was like, oh, look at Kal-El over here, doesn't need an alarm clock like normal people. It's like, you know. Yeah.
You can't win.
No, you can't. There's no winning.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it made me think about that because you know, not to get too much, or not to get into it at all, really, but like, you know, lately I've been doing quite well with my job, you know, my income and all that kind of stuff. But you know, there's always, it's never all good or all bad, you know.
Yeah,
There's always good things and bad things about it.
Well, you know, like your situation, without going into too much detail, my brother was recently dealing with the same thing, where he's got like issues from the past coming back and was haunting him from being able to solve things in the present, even though he's doing much better than he was, say, like a year and a half ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it just happens. It's hard to deal with, and it can be very stressful, so it's understandable.
You know, it's funny because there's all these things, that you keep up with regularly in life. Like, for instance, this isn't related to yesterday, but it sort of is. Like a driver's license, right? Yeah. Once you get a driver's license, you just make sure you renew it whenever it expires, and you're good for the rest of your life. You never really have to think about it. If you, and this is pro tip for life,
don't let it lapse.
Never let your fucking driver's license expire, at least not by too much. Like if it expires and within
different
that month you manage,
have like different grace periods, but
yeah. But my driver's license had been expired for 3 or 4 years. I didn't even have a car for a long time, for all that time. Oh my God, it's a pain in the ass to get to renew a driver's license.
Oh,
when it's that expired. I mean, you basically have to start over from scratch, and you just have to.
My mom had to retake the driver's test recently.
Yeah, I had to retake the driver's test, and I had to have, you know, a Social Security card, which I'd also lost my Social Security card in various moves. Yeah, you know, and it's like, okay, I have no ID whatsoever. Like I'm essentially an illegal alien. So I had to rebuild my life by getting a new Social Security card and a new birth certificate and all this stuff and a driver's license.
It's pretty much everything my mom had to go through.
The one thing that did save me from even more headache was that I had a valid passport. Because
that is actually at least one step in the right direction.
Yeah, that definitely helped because in the various steps to get a new driver's license, at least I had one form of photo ID that wasn't expired. So
yeah,
but it's things like that just kind of can spiral out of control. Like, you know, there are other things where it's like you can't let that lapse or else you're screwed.
I don't currently have a valid form of photo ID.
Uh-oh. Well, you might be in for an adventure.
Well, to be fair, I've never had a driver's license, so the photo ID I had is fucking easy as shit to get. I just have to go to a DMV. Or a DPS. I actually only have to go to a DPS.
Yeah. Well, I even went to the DMV in Arizona, like 2 years ago. Or no, it was last year. at some point. Because this was the other thing. So last year I was out of a job trying to get like unemployment, maybe even, God forbid, food stamps, that sort of thing, without a valid driver's license or photo ID. Even the passport, they wouldn't take it. They're like, you
Yeah, they
have to
want like
have
a state ID.
Yeah, you have to have a state ID, and I was not even in a position at that point to do all the shit that I needed to do to get that. It wasn't until I moved to Alabama I was able to do it. So I couldn't even get unemployment or food stamps or anything. So
Yeah.
it was crazy last year. Don't let your driver's license lapse. If you don't have one, get one or something. State ID, whatever. But anyway,
Yeah,
that
so
wasn't
you have
related
to end up working at Walmart because it's one of the few places they'll hire you as long as you have any bare form of proving that you are who you are.
Well, I had my passport. They actually took that.
Yeah,
Like
that's Walmart's very
valid.
flexible.
Yeah, that is valid for like an I-9 form.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least that. And then also like Walmart will let you cash your checks early, or they'll let you cash like half of your check early, and they will take a passport as a valid ID for that.
Yeah. Well, I know at least some of them. I don't know if this is like a nationwide thing, if like this is just a partnership Walmart has, but my dad used to cash his check for no cost at the Western Union in the Walmart because they were partnered with them when he worked there.
Yeah, I think they still are.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they still are. But yeah, I mean, I had a checking account, so that wasn't a problem.
yeah, but he was already there. And
Yeah.
he actually has like legitimate debt problems where it's hard for him to open accounts at certain places. So at least when he first started his job, before he had enough money to open a new account somewhere where they would actually be like, oh yeah, you have a stable income, we'll open a checking account with you. He had to like get it checked at the Western Union.
Yeah. They have this new program, I think it's new, where you can actually cash half your check before, like basically immediately. So like if you're, they have like every 2 weeks you get paid, but after the first week, or technically after the first day that you do any work, you can cash half of it up to that point.
Just look at the chat.
It's kind of interesting.
For Glacier Mountain Comics, Metal walks around bare feet. If this was the Flintstones, he'd have a sick ride. Probably not, because if I recall, Fred still had a stone engraved driver's license. Though you know what they say, and I tell people all the time, I can drive, just not legally. It's only a crime once you get caught.
Yeah. Oh, I was driving. I was driving a friend's car.
My dad was... Actually, I don't think he has a driver's license now. My dad's been driving for years with an invalid driver's license. He has a state ID, but he doesn't have a driver's license. He lost that, I want to say, 2009 or 10 or whatever. I think it was probably 2010. He had his ID revoked, and he's just never gotten it back. It was due to a drunk driving thing that landed him in prison for like a month or so.
That's the other thing. Like, if your driver's license,
the driver, he was in the passenger seat.
What?
Yeah, but he was with somebody who was a drug dealer. So like before the cops were able to get there, the other guy booked into the woods with my dad still in the passenger seat with an open can of beer on him.
Okay.
And because they didn't get a good look at the guy who was in the car, they just assumed he like hopped over and made this whole story up.
Okay.
Yeah. But it wasn't his car either. It wasn't registered to him. And he wasn't getting booked for stealing the car. Because the other guy lied and just said he lent it to him. It's like, you son of a bitch. But yeah, he was in prison for no more than a month. He was just like a month. Mostly on just repeated DUI charges. But
was it the kind of car that was easy to get over from the driver's seat to the Passenger seat? Okay.
I mean, yeah, it was entirely automatic, and the shift was on the wheel, so there really wasn't much of a console in between.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, how would you even get over there?
Like, if it was a manual, I can understand that'd be a pain in the ass, but unless it was like a truck, because even with a truck, like with the way the bed is, like it's pretty easy to just slide over, even with a stick shift in between.
Yeah.
Actually, I had to ride all the way back from Waco to DFW in the middle seat of a stick shift because my roommate who was driving had his brother there for like the week. He was staying the week with us, kind of against the rules on our couch. Just hang out. We had like LAN parties and stuff like that. And I only went back like every other week. So I was riding back with them as he was dropping them off. And his hand was very uncomfortably close to my crotch the entire time. And I'm like, please don't mistake which stick you were grabbing when you shift.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, similar. Well, not exactly similar, but I was driving. I guess sort of similar situation to your dad. I was driving my sister's car back in high school, and her tags were expired. Her license plate.
Yeah.
Like she hadn't gotten the emissions check done, so the license plate tag was expired, and I was the one who got the ticket. The cop pulled me over and gave me a ticket for expired tags. Tried to tell him it wasn't my fault. It's my sister's car. I don't.
Yeah. And my mom to this very day still doesn't believe my dad, like with his story. Which I'm like, okay, I understand his story is a little ridiculous, but the alternative situation that you're trying to believe is even more ridiculous. Because one, this dude that was involved is shady as shit. I've known him for a long time because he was. My mom became friends with him because he was a drug dealer. It's like, don't ever become friends with your drug dealer, okay? If Pineapple Express has taught me anything, don't ever become friends with your drug dealer. Two. This shady guy, why would he let my dad drive his car in the first place? Of all people, right? Because her idea is that he wasn't even in the car. It's like, okay, well, why would my dad be driving his car somewhere without him even being in it? Right? Like, there's way too many things in her, like, headcanon scenario of what happened that couldn't possibly add up. That my dad's kind of, like, funny, slightly ridiculous story just makes a world of a lot more sense to any sane person than what she imagines happened.
Well, don't get rides with drug dealers is the other thing.
I've been telling them that for years. Nobody listens to me. I mean, come on. One, I keep telling them maybe, hey, stop doing drugs. This might solve your problem in the first place, but
I always figure, people who have chronically bad luck, it's like it's not really luck. It's
you make your own luck.
You're leading yourself into these situations, and it's like, there's some luck involved, but like you're putting yourself in these bad situations where chances are bad things are going to happen. So. Glacier Mountain Comics says, why aren't either I or us in Dillard's lunchbox?
I'm assuming he's talking to you because I am in that chat group. I just have it muted because they talk in it way too much. I just, like, every few hours or so I go back and I'll skim through everything. It's just there's way too much conversation for me not to mute it.
Wait.
Did somebody block
I
you?
am in there.
Oh.
No, I'm here.
I don't know. We just don't
What are you talking about, man? Yeah. I see.
I had to do that back with the Cult of Raven during the time, like 2 years ago or whatever, when it actually was popping. I was muting that shit all the time and just going back through and reading it. Yeah,
that was way worse.
Doing something and all of a sudden,
yeah. I'm totally in that group. I just responded and.
I have several chats muted.
Yeah. No, that one's not that bad compared to the Cult of Raven. Oh my god. That
Or
was
compared to that other one I was
freaking
invited to was the Milkshake Boys. I had to mute that one like right away. That one was going off all
the
the time.
Milkshake Boys.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be like the name's a parody of like the Milkshake Gang from the whole Marvel thing back in the what's her name, Antos. Yeah.
Heather Antos, yeah.
Yeah.
I was never in that group, but you know.
Yeah, I got invited to it. It's like whatever. I'll just mute it. I'll check in on it every so often.
I'm only barely involved in comics anyway.
Yeah, I guess because I'm an actual like comic creator.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I get invited to stuff.
But by the way, the boomerang box is on its way to the next victim. I still haven't published my unboxing from a couple weeks ago, but I figure I can go ahead and send it on.
Yeah.
Because I've had it for a ridiculous amount of time, and then I can publish that anytime. So, yes, it's on to. I don't know if you want me to say who has it next.
I don't know. That's up to Dillard whether he wants you to say or not.
I mean, I guess people need to know where to go. It's off to Jiminy Cricket, Jason Robinson.
Oh, cool! Down to Florida.
So,
Florida.
if anybody wants his full name and address, you know, there's a link down below for the hosting fees. Just put in $20 and, you know, I'll send you all the information you want to know about Jason.
Oh, I was also gonna bring this up since he's in the chat. I was being pinged before about, hey, when you know, save up some money, I want you to make a website for me. I'm not much of a web designer. That's not what I do. Yeah, and I was going to bring it up here because the guy next to me is more of the web developer type guy, so you might want to ask him instead. Yeah.
I've done countless.
I could do that, but it's not going to be to like the highest quality, and it's probably going to take longer than somebody who actually professionalizes in development. So
I've done countless WordPress sites, which are amazingly good now. I mean, if you're willing to pay $10 or $15 for a theme from like themeforest.com, there's amazing themes out there to make all kinds of websites.
Now, if you want somebody to help design assets for themes and stuff, that's where you want to talk to me. That's the stuff I do.
Yeah. If you want some custom graphics and stuff.
But if you actually want development, you want to talk to that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, plus talk to me early because, you know, you mentioned something about saving up. I really wouldn't charge you very much, you know.
No.
Because, like, for my corporate clients, I'm not going to charge you my rate that I charge corporate clients, believe me.
Yeah.
We'll just come up with a fixed fee and, you know, go from there.
As long as it's not too ridiculous.
As long as the site design isn't too like if we can just pick a theme from I usually go to Theme Forest.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, I can put that together in an afternoon, and you know, it's easy.
It's not like I need you to design me an original forum layout from scratch.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty of forum software too that can be customized like crazy. Yeah. So if you wanted that, of course, I don't think I'll be one of your I could be one of your moderators, but that could be a full-time job.
That is moderation is a full-time job on like actual websites. So you could be a mod on a stream channel or something without getting paid, unless they're like a super big person that's streaming nonstop. But like on a website where people come and go throughout the entire day and it constantly needs to be monitored, that is a full-time job.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Speaking of somebody who just lost a full-time job. The CEO of Activision Blizzard stepped down during this lawsuit. Yeah. J. Allen Brack. Or not CEO, the president. The president is the one who stepped down. I don't know what the difference, whether they actually have two different positions for president and CEO. Some companies do, some companies don't. I'm not sure if this is the case or not.
I'm guessing there's just a CEO of Activision Blizzard, and that Blizzard has a president and Activision has a president. I'm guessing.
Okay, I could see that, yeah.
And maybe
usually
that,
you have like
other...
2 chief officers as well. Above that, like usually you'll have the chief executive officer, but you'll also have like a chief operations officer that covers like the different type of operations in the company.
Yeah, it depending on the company, how big it is, and that sort of thing. Oftentimes, the CEO is really more concerned about like almost like fundraising. Like, they're concerned about mergers and acquisitions and
coordination between all the executives in the company.
Right, and like getting funding if that's the kind of company that you're if
well,
you're
the COO is the one who actually usually deals with the day-to-day business stuff, dealing with all the officers and the operations and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of funny that like he was thrown out of the bus or blamed for all this stuff going on in Blizzard when I'm 99% sure he had absolutely nothing to do with it. Probably didn't even
know. A president. Now that's the guy who's usually like.
Oh no, he was president, right?
Yeah, he was the president. But even the president, that's still.
Never mind.
Usually with the president, what you do is you're the guy in charge of like advertising and business deals. It's actually probably closer to the CEO job than the COO job. You're like a figurehead. You're the one that people will see when there's like a talk or something going on, and usually have nothing to do with the day-to-day of the company at all.
But being president of Blizzard, at least he was a little bit closer. Yeah. He probably did know some of this stuff that was going on, but
or at least had heard of it. It'd be hard to be in that position, and rumors and stuff don't make it to you.
Yeah, the Activision Blizzard CEO is Bobby Kotick.
Yeah, and I'm assuming he's still in it. Yeah. But they just got 2 new leaders after Brack stepped down.
Yeah. Yeah, which again is it's. I imagine that's not going to go on for very long. Like they're going to have to pick a new president because I don't know. I've heard that it's difficult for 2 people to sort of be co-president. It's a little bit easier for 3 people because then you can form a consensus. Yeah, if there's like disagreement, you can do a 2-to-1 thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it's going to go with 2 people. I guess they're just kind of
because the president it's kind of like an EIC if you want to kind of compare them, but they don't get as involved as like an editor would. And we look over at I think DC where they have the split editor in chiefs there, and nothing gets done. They're actually barely involved in anything.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's I guess that was entirely predictable.
Yeah.
They were someone's head had to roll, and I think that was a big enough problem that the president was the right choice.
Yeah. I think they should roll the entire HR department because if any of this stuff was really going on, human resources weren't doing their job properly.
Yeah. Well, frankly, at Blizzard, they need to get rid of the entire development staff.
Yeah.
They need to get rid of everyone. That company's a mess. It's funny that, in watching the Asmongold videos about it, he's like, I don't give a shit about all this other extraneous stuff. I just want the game to get better.
Yeah.
Like, I want this game to not suck anymore. He's like, is this going to improve the game or what?
Well, I mean, reasonably it could. Because you could reason that one of the reasons all the shit that happens in making these games bad is bleed over from the company itself not running properly. Which could be an add up of all the little bullshit things happening from the company, from the top down and backwards from the bottom up. If a company is running like shit, you can't expect quality products from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, they get rid of all of the people who are actually passionate about the game,
Yeah.
and it's not surprising that they got a bunch of people who would rather do what are they called, cubicle crawls, than actually
Yeah.
work on the game.
Yeah, and if there were people that were
Yeah.
actually doing misconduct, can all of them. Like, I don't give a shit. Just can them. They don't deserve to be in the industry. Half the people working at Blizzard, period, don't deserve to be in the industry. Most of them aren't actually passionate about anything whatsoever. They just have jobs in related careers of, like, I can code, or I can draw characters, or I can do this or that. And they wound up in the video game industry because it's the largest one right now.
Yeah. It's prestigious or whatever.
Yeah. It's what happens when your pastime gets corporate.
Yeah. Well, Glacier Mountain Comics says that he saw Willy's Wonderland and loved it.
Still haven't watched that. I plan on it
Me neither.
because that was what's his face? The Nick Cage one, right? That was going to be a FNAF movie originally, but they lost the rights to it, so they had to like completely remake it into something else.
Yeah.
And like we were saying last time, I'll watch basically anything that Nick Cage is in, even if it's shit. Like his performance will still be good.
Yeah, it looks funny, but it looks good. But like, it came out with like so little fanfare. It was just like, did they do any marketing for it? I mean, I guess previews at other movies and stuff like that.
I don't know. I didn't
Just
hear
slipped
about it
through the
until people
radar.
started talking about it.
Yeah. It's one of these movies where it's like, is that even out? Did it come out? I'm
Is
not
it
sure.
in theaters or is it just streaming?
I don't know.
I don't think I'd want to go see a FNAF-like movie in theaters anyway. I'd probably watch it on a stream, but still, like,
Yeah.
and I need to know if it ever was in theaters.
Yeah, it's available on Hulu.
Ooh,
I don't have Hulu, so
I don't either.
don't know. Apparently, oh wow, wait, what? Initial release February 2021 in Thailand.
In Thailand, that's a weird place to premiere your movie.
Has it? Okay, I guess it
Was it
didn't come out in
dubbed?
theaters because it says, I guess, but it says the box office was 400,000 on a $5 million budget. I'm like, that must not include streaming. I'm assuming it only came out on Hulu, I guess. I don't know. Weird. Weird movie. Speaking of which, I guess Black Widow bombed.
Oh yeah.
Apparently dropped, 80% or something like that in the second week.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And I like I've been looking at Johansson's lawsuit because she's suing Disney for not getting the royalty she owned or they promised or whatever, which is weird because she got paid exactly what she got paid, and she's going to get royalties, complaining that the decision to put it on Disney Plus is hurting her ability to make it. But when you're looking in the gross score, the Disney Plus viewings are in there, and it just looks like it's going down and eventually going to flatline. I think you got what you owed. You're both kind of scummy. I'm entertained by this lawsuit, and I don't really care who wins. It's one of those Apple versus Epic things where I've got no dog in this race. I just want to see one scummy person get screwed over by the other.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I've not seen her contract. I'm assuming that her lawsuit is accurate in that her contract stated that it would be, theatrical only, exclusive release. I'm assuming that's because if that's not true, then yeah, there's no lawsuit.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen her contract for proof to see if that actually is the case.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's seen it, but I gotta assume that if it doesn't say that, they wouldn't have a case at all.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that it does say that, in which
The
case
problem is I don't
Disney
know how
got pay.
something like that is enforceable, though. Because the problem with a contract is you could put anything in it, but there are things that people put in contracts all the time just to make it sound good that just aren't enforceable.
Well, I mean, it would have to be very specific about
Yeah.
saying this can only be released in theaters for X period
Yeah.
of time before it can be put on, streaming or released on DVD or whatever. And if that's the case, here's the thing: Warner had to readjust all these contracts and pay extra royalties and
Yeah.
stuff because they put all their shit on streaming.
Yeah.
Disney hasn't ever gone through all that because they've just been screwing people over with the streaming, and so I feel like Disney needs to start paying.
Yeah, or maybe
people
they're
need
trying to call their
suing.
bluff, right? Think about this. Because the decision in this case will matter a lot, actually. Because Disney might have thought maybe we don't have to restructure it because maybe there's nothing enforceable here, right? Because the only way you find out if something's enforceable is you actually bring it up to judges to see what part of contracts get enforced. So Disney might be playing the gambit of, let's see how much we can get away with. And look, if it turns out that this doesn't matter, then we don't have to restructure any of these damn contracts.
Yeah, in which case it would be worth it for them to throw
I think
all their money behind this lawsuit.
Based on how much promotion that she personally did, because Johansson is an executive producer on this movie, I think she's actually at more to lose from this than Disney is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Well,
if
they
she
have a lot to
wins,
lose.
then Disney could be at a lot to lose, because I've also heard that like Emma Stone is trying to do a similar follow-up with Cruella, and there could be a few different people that this could be a breach in contract for. So it really just depends on what the court holds up.
This is more than just the one contract.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
said, like Warner had to restructure everything around streaming.
Yeah,
and Disney never did.
So this is Disney's ultimate gambit right here. They're playing the cards they have, and they're trying to bluff until they find out what actually is the law and isn't.
Yeah.
And again, no dog in this race. I hate all of these people, so
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Yep. I hate them all too, but I think I hate Disney more.
Probably because they're this big corporate conglomerate, and someone like Johansson's just a single person who does and says shitty things.
Yeah. Glacier has a question. Who are our top 3 favorite directors?
Let me think about that.
And I don't know if I could rank them all in order, but I can give you 3 directors that are my favorites, probably. Like, what's his name? Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
To be honest, Steven Spielberg. Pretty
That's
good.
fair.
Especially growing up in the 80s. It's like, how could you not like Spielberg?
I do really like the Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, everyone's got to throw in Martin Scorsese or Stanley Kubrick or something like that. But it's like, I don't know. Those are a little too artsy-fartsy. Plus, I don't know if I could name a particular movie that either of them actually directed.
Really?
Well, I mean, Kubrick directed, what, 2001?
I mean, Scorsese's directed a lot of different movies.
Did he direct Godfather? Was that Scorsese? Or am I thinking of...
No. Scorsese did Goodfellas. That was his mob film.
Oh, right.
Which is actually one of my favorite films of all time. So Scorsese's actually probably up there. I love Goodfellas.
Oh, Godfather was Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, he also... Scorsese did The Irishman as well, which is another really good movie. Taxi Driver. He does a lot of mob-related movies in general.
Yeah, I don't know if I could name a third favorite director because it's like
Okay,
a lot of
actually,
directors do like a
I think I
couple of
have to
good
put
movies. And
Scorsese
then...
up there because two of my favorite movies are by him.
All right, what are those?
Goodfellas and The Departed.
I don't think I ever saw The Departed.
Oh my god, we need to have a movie night. The Departed, there are very, very few movies in the existence of movies I would give a 10 out of 10. Like a perfect score. Right? One of them is The Unforgiven. The other is The Departed. Everything else is like a 9 out of 10 at best because there's just something that's stopping. But those two movies, and one of them was by frickin' Scorsese. So yeah, we gotta watch it. I can't believe you've never seen The Departed.
What was... I'm trying to think. Is it Clint Eastwood? He directed some movies, right?
Yeah. His son is actually a director as well. More of a director than actually acting, but
Yeah. Oh, you know who's my favorite? Who's probably my third?
Hayao Miyazaki?
No. John Hughes.
Okay.
Again, being a child of the 80s, I have to say John Hughes movies are among my favorites. 16 Candles and Breakfast Club, and then
I
Uncle
really
Buck.
like Don Bluth.
You like Don Bluth?
Yeah, I think he's probably up there in my top three. I pretty much like every single one of the Don Bluth films that he actually directed, except for the one he also hates. And that's The Pebble and the Penguin.
I never saw that.
Yeah, that's okay. You're not missing out. That one's shit. He tried to get his name taken off of it.
Has he done anything other than animated movies?
I'm trying to remember. He's going to be involved in a live-action movie soon if it ever gets off the ground. Seeing that Ryan Reynolds is going to be playing Dirk in Dragon's Lair. Though I think he might just be producing that. I don't know if he's going to be the actual director on it.
You know what else is good, especially when it comes to animated movies, is Byron Howard.
Yeah.
I like a lot of his, like Tangled. You know, did he do Frozen? I don't think so. But anyway, I mean, probably not my top three, but I'm just saying I like a lot of the animated.
John Lasseter is a much better director.
Yeah, see, that's how I was actually trying to think of.
Who, you know, he was working at Pixar all the way. Now he works at Disney Animated doing... He might have been involved in Frozen, I'm not sure, but he did Wreck-It Ralph, for sure. And Lasseter did an amazing job on...
Yeah, you know what? That's who I was thinking of. I don't know why I thought of the other guy. John Lasseter, that's what I meant. I guess he was like executive producer of Tangled or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably up there. Maybe my fourth favorite.
Yeah.
Although just to look at him, he looks like one of those guys who has some weird skeletons in his closet or something.
I don't know. Because he's
Maybe
like an old head in the animation industry, so maybe some people did, but from what I hear from people, he's just kind of like a cool guy that's kind of geeky and just does stuff.
Yeah, and I know I think he worked a lot with what is the name? Not the former head of Apple who died.
Freaking Jobs.
Steve Jobs.
Right? Yeah. Because there's two Steves. There's Jobs and there's the Woz.
Yeah, no, Steve Jobs. I think he was sort of
Well, I think he
handpicked
knew
Steve
the
Jobs.
Woz too, because the Woz helped found Pixar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you probably knew both of them.
yeah. Yeah, for all his faults, I feel like Steve Jobs was a good guy. He seemed like it.
I don't know if I'd say he's a good guy. I just don't think I would say he's a bad guy. I think
Yeah.
his head was just in a different realm of operation than most people. So he couldn't
Yeah.
consider some of the bad things that were happening under his hand.
Yeah, well, I read one of his biographies, and he just, he's one of the last, corporate moguls or whatever whose really only concern was in making good products.
Yeah.
Making the best products. Like that was all he cared about. Just like,
I think actually, if reading his biographies, I've read like 3 different ones by different people who had like different biases. I've tried to read like positive and negative ones on him too, just to try to get a good view. It's a very modern term, but I would definitely say he was definitely partially autistic. I think he was an autistic person, which is why he cared about the product itself and why a lot of just horrible things to humans happened underneath his watch, because he was just trying to do whatever he could do to make the product good. And he probably didn't consider that the things that were happening were bad.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he treated a lot of people like shit.
Yeah.
But it was all to service his goal of making the best products in the world.
I wouldn't want to call him like a
that.
good person, but I wouldn't want to call him a bad person. He was just wired differently.
Like, I wouldn't want to know him personally. Like, I'm sure he was a complete asshole. But, like, versus these people who are like diversity and inclusion and, blah, blah, and it's like...
I don't think he was evil. I think that's the word I'll put down on it. I don't think he was evil.
I think, I mean, heads of, all these just obnoxious liars and prevaricators like, Jack Dorsey and, who are the head of Google and all that shit. It's like, all he cared about was making the best, having the biggest company in the world, the best products in the world. That's all he cared about.
Now, the Woz, on the other hand, was a people person and a cool guy. Like, he cared about the product, but he actually cared more about the people making the product than the product itself, which is probably why most of his ventures has always ended small, or he left them before they became big.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tim Cook, Jesus, what a evil asshole.
But I think one of the reasons why Lasseter does so well is because he was actually one of the guys working on the technology and stuff when it started. So he actually knows the operations of everything that's going on. He is one of the creators himself and not just like a director or some executive position.
Yeah.
And that's who you want
that's
involved in
what
stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want whoever's running things to be on the level of the people that are working underneath them.
Yeah.
That's a phrase that nobody uses anymore that I used to like, on the level, right? If you were trying to ask if somebody was cool, if they were like somebody that could be trusted, not necessarily like you would trust them as a person, but you would trust their decisions. You would ask, are they on the level? And nobody really uses that phrase anymore. I'm going to bring it back.
On the level.
On the level.
I think I've heard that.
It's a cool phrase.
I don't think that's gone out of fashion.
Dude, I never hear anybody say that anymore.
Really?
Yeah. Let's start asking people. It's like, oh yeah, you should check out this guy. You should do a collab with them. I'll be asked like, are they on the level? And then they'll probably be like, what the hell are you talking about? Video? Do you think they need to have as much experience? It's like, no, that's not the type of level I'm talking about. It's like a balancing beam. Or are they on the level?
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Speaking of Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, I just saw this. A Blizzard executive, chief compliance officer, Frances Townsend, deleted her Twitter account.
Now, that's a role that I have no idea what its job is. What does a chief compliance officer do?
I would think, this is just a guess, but I would think it would be someone who's make sure that they're complying with the law.
Maybe
that's
so it's like an ethical officer in a way.
Yeah, but like I've done a lot of work for like healthcare companies, and it's like, yeah, compliance is extremely important because there's so many goddamn regulations in healthcare. I don't know what a chief compliance officer at a video game company does.
Yes, okay.
But it probably has
I
to do
looked
with
up
law.
what chief compliance officer is, and that's basically what you said. They are primarily responsible for overseeing compliance within an organization and ensuring compliance within laws, regulatory requirements, policies, and procedures. So both inside and outside of the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she deleted her Twitter after just retweeting an Atlantic article that she didn't write that was on the problem of whistleblowing. So basically,
the problem of whistleblowing.
She was retweeting an article criticizing the act of whistleblowing.
Here's the thing, though. As long as the information within a whistleblowing document, right, doesn't reveal important copyright information or anything that would violate an NDA, but only reports the information that violates ethics statutes within or outside the company, how could it be a problem? Like, because you can redact anything that would be non-disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd want somebody like that being my CCO.
Plus, like, here's the thing. If you're going to be a whistleblower, you need to show receipts. Even if you stay anonymous, you have to have proof. Because
redact anything that's NDA, but show everything else. You put black bars over them.
Yeah, I mean, they were like supposed whistleblowers in the Trump organization that showed no proof of anything that they were claiming. They were just claiming it. And it's like, okay, there's no proof here. There's nothing here. They're just saying.
If her article and the problem with whistleblowing was that nobody shows their receipts, then actually I agree with you there.
Yeah. Chances are, now I haven't seen the article. I have to go look at it. But I'm guessing that is the take or something.
These guys
I
aren't
don't
even
know.
whistleblowers. You can't trust them. They don't even show anything.
Yeah. Who knows? I'd have to read the Atlantic article. But given what's going on at Blizzard, it was a bit of probably a bit of a tone deaf thing to do. So, like, one of the responses was, you literally spent an hour directly hearing the gut-wrenching pain and anger of employees last week, and this is what you decide to amplify while vacationing in the Hamptons?
Yeah. Dude, half the receipts I've seen from the Activision Blizzard lawsuit, they look legit, but there's, like, nothing to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even necessarily see a problem with the, what do they call it? The cubicle crawls. It's like, okay, that's just, we've already talked about this.
Yeah.
It's just an
office
party.
My problem is this happening during a designated office party time, or is this happening during the workday? Because if this is happening during the workday, then I actually do see a problem with it. You guys should be at work making video games. What the hell are you fucking doing?
Yeah. I have way more problem with the fact that Blizzard doesn't even seem to play their own games or understand their own games than I do about any of the other shit.
Like, my problem is less that, like, the choice of activity that they're doing during this time, and more that they're choosing to do an activity that isn't the job that they're supposed to be doing. Now, if this is how they choose to do their lunch break, that's fine. You need a mandated lunch break. Maybe this could just be their lunch break. But if it's not, then...
No, you probably shouldn't be drinking at your lunch break.
Probably not. Like, a cubicle crawl, they were talking about this almost like Epcot. Why are you drinking at work? Like, why are you actually drinking alcohol at work? This actually is kind of a problem.
Yeah. I doubt it was at work, though. Sounds to me like an after-hours party.
Yeah, like, they just stayed late, and they're like, yo, let's go. But then, like, why would you have an after-hours party at work? I'm sure there's got to be a bar nearby that, well, not right now. all the bars over there has to be closed.
Yeah.
If this was all within the last year. But if they're going back further than last year, there's got to be a bar or something nearby you guys can meet at.
Yeah. Who knows? They're nerds.
Yeah. Probably because all the bars in Silicon Valley are filled with nerds anyway, but I think none of them realize that they're filled with nerds, and they think this like freaking bikers and stuff are going to be there. It's like, dude, your entire microcosm that you live in is nothing but nerds. Why would you think nothing but nerds would be at the bar? Like,
Do you think video game companies are anything like it was portrayed in Grandma's Boy?
Have you seen Grandma's Boy? It's a movie.
No.
Do we have to add? Okay. This is also getting added to the movies list. Grandma's Boy is one of the best Happy Madison movies made. So you remember when, I'll do this briefly because it's time to end the show, but like, you remember when after, say, Little Nicky, Don't Mess with the Zohan, like after that little thing, and then Adam Sandler movies kind of just dropped downhill, right?
Yeah.
During that time, his company was making movies with other people in it. Some of them being the people that you've seen in those Adam Sandler movies. And one of them was called Grandma's Boy, which was about a video game tester. His job was purely testing. But he went to school for design, and he was making like his own little game on the side by himself. And he worked at a video game company. They had this huge, like, mega prodigy working there named JP. And the main character ends up getting evicted from his apartment because his roommate spent all their money on, like, Filipino prostitutes or something like that. So he has to move back in with his grandma. Like, his grandma's the only person he can move in. And he lives in a house with her and her 2 elderly roommates. And all of these antics ensue because of it. I think you would really like the movie if we watched it. It's great. I watched this movie like 100 times. Mostly because anytime I went to one of my friends' house, he just had it playing in the background. Like on repeat maybe even. I don't even know, but I've probably seen the movie like 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would guess that I would guess working in a video game company is more like the show Office, or the show Office Space, or the movie Office.
I would assume that too. Like maybe smaller companies might be closer to Grandma's Boy, but I would think it'd be actually closer to the show The Office if you were in a smaller company. But a big one is definitely like Office Space.
Yeah. TPS reports and bug fixing and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're gonna need you to come in on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at a crunch time. Yeah.
That's all right. Dude, I love Office Space.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie.
Should watch that for like the 50th time.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough times that you can watch it. Have you seen my stapler? I'm looking for my stapler.
Yeah.
Where's my stapler? They just keep shuffling him between apartments because they haven't fired him. Or they fired him, but they don't want to pay him his last paycheck. So we're just going to shuffle him around. And keep him working for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll just work itself out.
Yeah. Eventually. I love the Bobs, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could go on and on about that.
Yeah, that's the end of the show. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the show, please share it with somebody else you might like. And if you really enjoy the show, consider donating to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium Live so you can see that little bar go up. It's kind of satisfying, at least for me, but that's probably because the money's going to my pocket. But, you know, it's almost like a game. You have the agency to fill it up yourself. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.